Hello, my lovely supporters, and welcome back to the MJ and Sons podcast. I'm your host, Moonwalker Tanya. So I guess we really shouldn't be surprised by this, considering the fact that Michael has been backstabbed by friends and former fans. But this is a new low. Michael is now being backstabbed by a former attorney. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Mark Geragos strongly defended Michael and was representing Michael at the very beginning of the 05 trial before he was replaced with Tom Mesereau. Well, now he is representing the Cassios in private arbitration. So a man who strongly defended Michael and said that Michael would not be abused or being treated like a piñata is now representing a family who wrote a book about Michael, tried to sell 3 fake songs on the Michael album, tried to sell Michael's underwear, has gambling debts, and owes money to prostitutes. Mark, that was a stupid thing to do. And to Frank Cascio, you need to go to Gamblers Anonymous and learn how to control yourself, you pig. Yeah, so Andy Signor from Popcorn Planet made a video about this with attorney Chris Melcher, and they were talking about this. And before I watched that video, which we will react to part of it in a sec, before I watched it, I remembered that there was an interview Tom Mesereau did with John Ziegler shortly after the mockumentary premiered. And as John Ziegler was asking Tom Mesereau questions, Tom obviously was more than happy to answer some questions, but he said, well, I can't reveal everything because of client-attorney privilege. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because obviously I wanted to be a defense attorney, but I've never been to law school or anything. But ever since Tom said that, I thought, well, then that means that every attorney that Michael ever had throughout his life, they're still supposed to be loyal to him even after his death, right? So isn't what Mark Geragos, isn't what he's doing, inappropriate and a violation of that client-attorney privilege? Well, Christopher Melcher confirms that I was right. Let's check it out.
And one other thing I want to point out, Chris, and I want to come to you, I just find it also ironic because look who this is, Chris. A very young Mark Geragos. Look at him.
Is not going to be abused. Michael Jackson is not going to be slammed. Is not going to be a piñata for every person who has financial motives.
That's him saying.
But Frank Cascio is suing $213 million from the estate, and you're representing them for child molestation, false allegations. So,
Michael Jackson will not be a piñata for every person that has financial motives. Well, that's kind of what's happening here. So how is Mark Geragos, who defended him previously, Chris, now supporting a victim where Mark was also very adamant about Michael Jackson's guilt? He testified during one of those trials, Chris. How is this allowed?
Well, and plus, I was trying to think of a possible reason of why Mark is doing this, even though there really isn't a good reason. And I thought, could Mark possibly be jealous that Tom Mesereau helped the estate fight against HBO when it came to the first mockumentary? Or could Mark possibly be jealous that Tom Mesereau and Susan Yu are helping the estate fight against Wade and James and Mark was never considered? I mean, those are the only things I can personally think of. And it's just a theory on my part, but like I said, the client-attorney privilege thing, it's supposed to be something you're supposed to honor as an attorney. So, he would not have a good reason to do this at all.
Is this not a weird, sketchy thing?
Oh, it's totally sketchy. And that was the thing that jumped out at me that was missing from the People article. Geragos is now in court yesterday representing these alleged victims, trying to upset or overturn a settlement agreement against the estate. When he represented Michael Jackson early stages in the criminal case in Santa Barbara. Now, he was replaced by Tom Mesereau and was compelled to testify in that case, but he was a former attorney for Michael Jackson, not relating to these alleged victims, but to others. And
back in 05.
I find it like incredible to believe that this same attorney is now on both sides of similar issues. Now, in California, there is a professional responsibility that is owed to former clients, and that continues after they're deceased, by the way. So the attorney.
Oh, I was right. Oh, Mark Geragos, you are so busted.
Attorney-client privilege and the professional obligations to a former client continue even after that person is deceased. And we as lawyers cannot take a position for a current client against a former client on matters that are related. And this, I would say, is sufficiently related.
Yes.
I am dumbfounded to think of any good reason why Geragos would represent these folks against his former client. Even though, okay, hey, the alleged victim in Santa Barbara is different than here.
It's under the same category.
And I think highly inappropriate for him to do that. And I'm also dumbfounded why the estate isn't seeking his disqualification. And to me, this whole thing smacks of a shakedown.
Yes.
And to say, you know, hey, the very thing that Geragos was saying that he wasn't going to allow on his watch against Michael Jackson being the piñata,
he's now
sprung up the piñata from his own ceiling and he's whacking against it. And it's like, but we're not wearing blindfolds. We can see what's happening here. And I think it's just amazing.
Only the MJ haters are wearing blindfolds.
Geragos is a very successful lawyer. He's got plenty of clients.
I've been on Pierce with Geragos. Yeah, I've been on Pierce with Geragos. Please, Mark, come on the show and explain yourself.
I mean, if Geragos ever did agree to appear on Popcorn Planet and answer any questions Andy would have for him, I would love to see that. Do I think it's going to happen? No, because now that Geragos is on the hater side, he's going to be very quiet. He's not going to answer questions that could possibly ruin the case. You know, it's the same thing that happened when John Ziegler tried to have Dan Reed on his show. John Ziegler invited Dan Reed many times to be on his show, but Dan Reed refused because he knew John Ziegler would ask questions that would break him down. You know, and even though I would never do this, the same thing would have happened if I tried to reach out to Dan Reed. He's not going to talk to me because I could literally destroy him in less than a minute. It would not take long at all. So, I will be shocked if Geragos agrees to appear on Popcorn Planet, but do I think it's going to happen? No. So, like I said, I do consider this very inappropriate, and yes, the estate needs to file to have him, Mark Geragos, disqualified from this case. So, yeah. But at the same time, we might as well not be surprised when someone backstabs Michael these days. Except it's not going to be me, unless evidence is actually provided. And there never has been any evidence, and there never will be. So I'm not worried. Okay, so let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys shocked by this? And I also want to say thank you again to Andy Signor and Christopher Melcher from Popcorn Planet. All right, so let's have a great conversation in the comments. To my lovely supporters, I love you. If you are new to the channel, welcome, as long as you're an MJ supporter. If you love true MJ content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you are a MJ hater, then beat it, because I don't have the time or patience to deal with you. Too many haters have lied to me over the years, and I'm just sick of it.